All right. So I told you I have this voice acting gig that I've been doing, but it's actually pretty funky. It's pretty interesting. It's training AI, and it's like really like emotional scripts. I mean, range. They're all emotional ranges, like warm and caring, sad and angry, frustrated, low energy, like everything. They tried to think of everything. So yeah, I'm training robots how to talk like humans right now. It's kind of funny, huh? That's where we are. How about we do our meditation and then because I know Kate likes to do the meditation, and I'm not sure how long we have her tonight. We got a great lesson though. I feel like a talk show host. We got a great show for you tonight. Aliel's here, so stick around. Yeah, training AI. Ali, you want to stick around for the meditation? Just tried to fly on my head and it didn't work. Can you guys hear me okay? Is my volume okay? Welcome to your sacred practice. Yeah, exactly. Test, 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 test. Oh, it's my volume. It's not up very well. My volume's okay for you guys? I mean, if it's not, just give me tell me no. But I think it might be okay. All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and start with the meditation. If you're listening on the replay and you don't want to do the meditation right now, it is going to be, scooting my chair over, 18 and a half minutes. That's what the meditation length is. Cool. Here we go. Go ahead and get yourself settled in. Where do you want to be, Ali? You want to come sit with me? All right. I'm going to do the meditation too, little girl, okay? So you be safe while I'm zoned out, or maybe you'll come meditate with me. Here we go. You might hear Aliel's little wings because my microphone has to stay live while we do this, but we'll just let it be we can use anything to go even deeper if that's what we want. So get yourself settled. You'll hear it in just a moment. And as always, if we're going for like a good minute and you can't hear it or it's not the right volume, I'm gonna watch the feed for like 2 minutes while the meditation is going just to make sure everything's okay. So holler at me if it's not. Here we go. Welcome to your sacred practice. And in this meditative journey, as we move into the inner spaces, so that we may connect more to the positive domain of the plane of life. And so to begin this process, let's take those 3 big, deep breaths, expansive, deep in the belly, and expanding to include the heart center. 3 big, deep breaths on your own pace, luxuriating in the breath of life. And as you drink in that breath of life, allowing it to create a calm, a deep inner calm, and sending the relaxation all through. And your breathing shall return to a natural pace, but we have that greater awareness around it, that depth of intention, engaging with life. And now let's bring the awareness to the very center of your body, the depth of the center of your being here, which is often called the seat of the soul. There in that center place of your abdomen, where you have your gut feelings. And visualize or just have an imagining of going to a deep, deep point within here. The point within the point within the point. And if you find a place where you're just imagining that there is the deepest place, and deep inside you is also deep inside the universe. And just allow yourself to continue to find how deep you can reach inside. And you may settle at a certain place, a certain point that you would consider to be the depth of your inner experience and the depths of the universe inside, within. Here there is a precise intention, and yet, even though it is precise, it is unnamed, unconditional. There's a stability here, and there's also an openness to move forward. Just sensing all of what the possibilities are here, deep within. And so now, with your awareness in this deep within place, you have the option to coax from this place the positive energy, the positive outlook, the positive flow from this place. And even just wondering what that could be is enough to pull forward that positive intention. And perhaps you may even want to say to yourself, I am willing to be positive. I am willing to sense and expect positivity from the depths of myself, from the depths of the universe. And so, with this awareness, with this intention to bring forth the positivity from deep within, let's add to it a visualization or a sense that this positivity is a warm glow, a brilliance. And this word brilliance has many different connotations. It has intelligence, it has creativity, and it has light. As you're pondering the positive, warm glow within you, within the depths of the universe, bringing your curiosity and your awareness to it causes that warm glow, that positivity to expand, to grow, for the brilliance to become even brighter. And just allow it to, or invite it to, continue this expansion of warm, glowing brilliance from within. And the warm, glowing brilliance will begin to expand so much that it is bathing you from within. Allow it to move through all the places of your body. Invite it, welcome it, give it permission as this warm, brilliant glow is moving to all of the spaces and places within your body. Attend to it with care, attend to it with appreciation, and give it permission to spread that calm to every nook and cranny, all throughout abdomen, all down through pelvis and legs and feet, all up through chest and back, shoulders and down the arms, up neck and head and all around. And as it is moving this brilliant glow, this warmth, it has to continue. And so it moves even beyond your physical body. Once again, allowing it to give you a positive yet also very calm and relaxed, an openness. And I wonder how brilliant this glowing warmth, this expansion can get for you. Calm, relaxed, positivity, openness. As you allow this to fill all of the space of your being, of your body, of your awareness, you realize that your awareness is unlimited. It is possible to imagine all things. Now, this is relative to your imagining of all things, but all things. This is a concept that your senses can create. All things, all events, all possibilities. As you allow your pondering, your imagination to just dance within all possibilities, remembering that warm glow, which is positivity, you recognize that as you spread your awareness out to all things, all possibilities with this warmth, this brilliance, you could sense this expansion of positive awareness, your positive awareness reaching out to all possibilities. And what could be so very comfortable with this is that you don't need it to be defined. And so bringing in a trust, bringing in a loving, trusting communion between you and all possibilities. Just acquainting yourself as meeting new friends. And I wonder if there is a sense of familiarity with this positive connection, this trusting connection. For everyone has experienced positivity, everyone has experienced trust. And yes, as we marry these two, we have this sense of faith. And wondering about this concept of faith. And so I invite you to imagine a certain energy that is easy for you to trust, easy for you to place your faith. For some, that could be love or flow, hope. Maybe it is so tender and so personal, it doesn't even require a word. But it is yours and it is you. And this connection that you are sensing of trust, appreciation, faith, it's a sacred bond between you and the universe. And so with that sense of curiosity, or perhaps it is remembering or recalling what it feels like to move forward in faith, to move forward in trust, to move forward with positivity as Just hang tight for a second, y'all. My apologies. Just continue to, actually, I guess I'll continue it for us. As allowing that positive energy to settle even more. And let us deeply explore this sense of faith. And even wondering if faith needs a subject. It is said that faith is the belief in things hoped for, the substance of that which is not seen. In this, we actually can derive the true, pure manifestation process. For before anything is, it must first be conceived in the heart and in the mind. It is the ordering of how life becomes, how anything that is intended becomes. And it all starts with that warmth, that awareness that's deep within, allowing it to shine all around. And this process of faith, it is one that is forward moving. It is positive, it is seeking. And let's just dwell in these energies for a moment here. Perhaps imagine that you are witnessing the light of faith. Faith for anything that is positive. Faith for living for life. Imagine that it is rising in you as if a thermometer is rising. Maybe it starts from your feet, easily travels up to your heart, and continues to rise with your positive vision and leaning in. Take a moment here to let yourself become absorbed in this energy of faith. And I wonder if you can turn up the volume of that light of faith within you even more. If it seems as though that's something you would prefer, I'll let you decide. And if you do prefer this profound absorption with faith, this frequency that is so pure and so close to Prime Creator, for it did require faith for the universe to become. If you prefer this, call forth or select a symbol, an activation symbol. And as you do, imagine it, visualize it, and let it be charged up charged up even more. A sense of agreement here. As you seek to expand in faith, faith also seeks to expand in you. And so now let's ground all of this in with your activation symbol, now fully charged and received. You can allow the symbol to move into your heart or just simply stay in your awareness for you to call up in just those right times for that attunement. And settling all of this in now, let's pair it with the breath, taking in a nice, deep and cleansing breath. And moving forward ever so powerfully in faith and positive expectation. And coming on back, I'll turn down this music. All right. Hi, everyone. I apologize for my for shutting off the meditation midway. It was like Butterfinger's moment. I was like, slippity slip, oopsie. So, shall we head on into the lessons, or I want to check in with you guys. Does anyone have anything that they, if you're not going to stick around or if you need anything before we head on in, I'll just give us a moment, just a few seconds here. I'm expecting that we're going to go ahead. We have a lesson on teaching. I'm really excited to head into this portion of, it's going to be a few classes here. I think 3. I haven't, it's like I map them out and then I'm usually pretty clear about how long they'll take, but sometimes, new stuff comes into a lesson. So then I, move the rest of it into another lesson, but it seems like it's 3 lessons. So, all right. Well, I don't see any requests at the moment, but we'll have time afterward. So let's get on into the teaching. Welcome to our lessons. This set of lessons is on teaching, spiritual teaching. I have my teacher's assistant here, Aliel, my little bird, on my arm. And we dressed alike today. I just realized after I put on this top because she's wearing pink and blue and so am I. So welcome to our lessons on spiritual teaching. This first lesson is going to focus on a standalone lesson, one that is self-contained. And this lesson, the objective is to help you to prepare, structure, and deliver a standalone single teaching session. Now, this has applications as a workshop, a group class, an event, and I'm also going to talk about how to integrate professional takeaways so that you can continue to foster engagement and community with the people who would be in your class. So once again, we will be equipping you with the skill to confidently teach a standalone lesson, one that is focused in a certain topic or subject. The real world relevance workshops, retreats, if you could submit yourself to retreats, or if you were called to teach in a retreat, any kind of guest teaching. It could also be something that it might think of you if you were to speak in front of a spiritual group or church. We have a unity church here in Burbank. Actually, we have a spiritualist center and a unity church. So if you had any churches like that, or perhaps you would, if you have a religious organization, a church that is, religiously oriented, you could also take this into that sector as well. community circle. And this could be, I'm going to show you how it might be served better online or as something that is in person, just a few shades of nuance there. And of course, online, I didn't mention we have master classes, we have webinars, we have all different ways that we interact. In addition, if you wanted to do YouTube videos, because I'm going to give you a format that can be expanded or compressed. And if you could compress this into a YouTube video that was 10 minutes long, 15 minutes long to teach something. So that is where we're starting. We are going to have a set of lessons in this area, but this one is the one we'll start with just to get the focus of a single session, because as we expand this into a program, or even if it's 3 lessons or 12 lessons, you would still use kind of this same formula within that. And then we're going to talk about how we expand all of that. You have a PDF, or it's really like a workbook that goes along with this. I'll just give you a preview of it right now. And this is pretty comprehensive, has all of these different items that we're going to be going over, and definitely, and maybe even has a little bit more than what I might be teaching here today. It also has, which I will pull up later, but just to give you a preview, some swipe outlines. And what I mean by swipe is you can take this, honestly, you can take this and just teach it as it is. You won't teach it as it is because you'll be adding you to it. But we have these outlines that you could take, practice with, or actually just deliver. And of course, you could also take these and fill them in with your own subjects. So that is where we're heading. Those are our objectives for this class. And I'm excited to dive into it with you. So let's get started, shall we? Just one second, Ooh, it really is still Mercury retrograde. Like 45 things just opened up on my desktop, and I didn't do anything to make that happen. So let me just close those down. All right, back to where I need to be. Thanks for your patience. Okay, as we head into this, I'm going to section this out in a couple of ways. First, I'll give you an overview of the session, of like what some of the things to keep in mind and frame as you would be teaching the session, the class. And actually, this kind of has in mind that you'd be teaching it live, but you could absolutely, this could be how you do a recorded class as well. And well, it is how I do a recorded class. I mean, this is recorded, but I also teach it as though it's like a kind of both. It's kind of taught live feeling, but also it's recorded. So this is the formula that I use. Actually, I think you'll find it really straightforward. So I'm sure, that it'll seem familiar to you. So if we are talking about the actual session now, obviously you would prepared yourself that day. You would be well rested, you would be well hydrated, you would be nourished, and you would be grounding yourself with your spiritual practice, meditation, actually grounding practice in your meditation, and you would have a positive expectation for the class. What you want to do, of course, is anchor in your teacher identity. And your teacher identity is someone who is here to serve, who is teaching and leading from the heart, and spirit can find everyone through the portal of your heart. So let's imagine, and we are now at the class, whether it is online or in person. The first thing that we would want to do is give a brief introduction, and that introduction would be of the class. However, we also have to remember to give an introduction of ourselves. Maybe you don't forget this. I actually forget this. I have to tell myself before I go teach. And I think part of the reason of that is because I do teach like this, where y'all know me. Can you imagine if every single class I said, "Hi, everyone, I'm Tricia." And you're like, "Yeah, I know. Duh." So I think I have a little bit of a habit of teaching with in community that already knows me, and I have to remind myself to give an introduction of myself. And it's more than just your name. And this is another thing that some people might get shy maybe about this part, because you want to it's not bragging, but I'm going to call it bragging just to kind of put it in your awareness. Imagine if it feels like bragging to you, what that is doing is giving your students confidence to listen to you. And you know the difference. You're not going to be like, "Well, I have blah blah blah." And maybe you've seen people do that and you're like, "That feels off." But if you just simply state what it is that you do, which is amazing, every single one of you, and what your experience is, anything, and what skills or talents or gifts you have cultivated. These will be these will help your as you've anchored in your teacher identity, it'll help your students to anchor in their student identity and have a sense that they are opening their heart to you. As your heart is open to them, it will offer the opening of their hearts to you. So your introduction would first be an introduction to who you are, what you do. And then from there, you would introduce the class, of course, the title, and a brief description, some kind of context about the class. And also something that might be a bit of an agenda overview. The way that I've given you an outline today includes something that would be like an activation, a meditation, an integration, a practice, some kind, or maybe a demonstration, something that is actually moving the energy rather than just receiving. And so you might explain that to people in the agenda. So this is optional, but this is also really great if it's an audience that doesn't know you very well yet, and maybe is doesn't know about what classes like this would entail. I always, when I'm working with an audience that is new, I tell them, you are you are invited to interact, ask questions, participate as much as you like, and you're also welcome to sit back and just take it all in. And then when I get to the part that is moving the energy, a meditation, a journey, or an exercise, then I like to have it set up so that they can also not really participate if they don't want to. Now, the reason that's important is because if you're going to have a situation where people are partnered or paired up, maybe not everyone wants to, they're not comfortable. They're a little bit shy, or they're just not in the mood for it. So then keep that in mind too, because maybe it would be small groups rather than just partners. I mean, this would be obviously different if it was some kind of certification and they're needing to develop those skills, and so they would be at some point compelled. But I'm talking about if it's something that is more like you are at a metaphysical uh, store, and just people have purchased tickets to come and listen to you talk, or perhaps it's something online, um, something that doesn't require their qualification, then just we want to be sensitive that maybe they want to opt for very minimal interaction with anyone or participation. So, giving the agenda overview. And now, so far as the teaching portion is concerned, I'm going to walk you through some of those great outlines. And this part is just the overview, though. For your teaching material, you're going to have an introduction, as I've already described. Then your subject, really, it's as simple as how we were taught to write essays I think they started teaching us to write essays in even like elementary school, fourth or fifth grade. I don't, it was so long ago. You have a thesis statement, which is what is going on in your introduction. You would have written a description of it, even if it's a short one, whether to invite people to it, for them to sign up. And if that isn't available, you still want to write a description for your benefit, and that will serve as your thesis statement. And remember, thesis statements had 2 or 3 supporting evidential parts to it. And that's what we'll do as well. So you have your introduction, which stands as your thesis, and then we're going to have main points. And those main points, we would have 2 or 3 main points, each of those main points having 2 or 3 sub points. That is basically enough. And through that, keeping it simple, then you can allow for space, for clarity to land, for any intuitive download that you get during the class, and of course, the questions, which are going to spark more lesson time. In addition to the lesson, so with the introduction, the lesson with the main points, we are going to work in there some opportunities maybe after the first main point is finished. Give a moment for it to land and say, does anyone have any questions or anything they would like to share? Sometimes they're not ready to go yet, but sometimes there's someone who likes to kick things off. You all have been in class together, and I'm sure many of you have taught, so you have a feel for what that's like. Then after the main points of teaching, this is when you would do your integration practice of some kind, a meditation, some kind of guided activation. You might do a demonstration here. So let's imagine you're talking about an oracle card class. Well, you might actually ask someone if they would like to get a reading from you in front of everyone with the oracle cards and actually demonstrate it. This is also a great opportunity, doing some kind of hot seat situation, to get the ball rolling for people to really feel like they can open up even more, because that person's going to open up. They're brave enough to volunteer, and they're going to give you something they would like to have the reading on. And as they do that, that will spread throughout the student body, throughout the whole room, and people will be able to really start to anchor it in. And again, as they open their hearts, they will be able to shift their state and receive it even more. Perhaps you're going to do something like an energy exercise or an intuitive or intuition exercise. It can be something just to help them to connect with their intuition, and imagining that you're connecting them to each of their clairsenses in one little technique or another. Another great integration exercise is something that is like, it requires journaling or prompts them to journaling. You could actually just prepare some journal prompts in advance and have them sit with those journal prompts, and maybe they want to just contemplate them, or maybe they want to write them out. You could tell people to have their phone if that's how they're more comfortable typing. And then, as I already alluded to, a partner activity. This is really great in person because you can make them small groups rather than partner. But you can also do this in online situations with breakout rooms if that seemed appropriate. After all of that, in the integration, then we'll do the closing part. And the closing is really kind of restating the introduction. So as a summary of the teachings, however, you're going to just kind of take the introduction and say, so what we learned today was. And in addition to just that which was planned, you're, restating your thesis statement and what was learned. Hold open and even make sure that you anchor in yourself that at that closing point too, you are going to have a mention of something that happened fresh and live in the class. Some kind of shift that everyone witnessed. Maybe it came from your teaching. Maybe it came from that person who volunteered and had this great shift. Weave that into how it proved the lesson. You see what I mean? That is so powerful. And if you set that intention, spirit will do it every time. I was doing this podcast. Actually, it was for a while. I was doing a podcast for HMI, and they never actually kept it going or published it. But every time I was interviewing someone, I had set the intention. I told spirit that I was going to take something from what they said and make that my closing line. So maybe you guys don't listen to my podcast. I'm not sad about that. But if you have listened to it, or if you've listened to it all the way to the end, I have my tagline for that, and it's, I love you, whoever you are. So I decided that in this, and this is a demonstration of how setting the intention to pull something out as the as the epiphany, the aha that everyone created and witnessed. So I was, interviewing the person, and then something that the person said would always stand out. And I didn't have notes or anything. I just had to hold it and multitask listening and holding it until the end. And so then I would turn to the camera and I say, "Thank you everyone for joining us today on the Mind Body podcast. I'm Tricia Carr with I don't remember, I'm guessing with Susan. And just a reminder to remember who you are." Every time, and that was like something that the guest had said, and they would go, "Oh." So you see, it just shows, it proves the material. It anchors it in. Again, their heart opens up even more, and it all becomes this embodied experience because as we feel it into ourselves, now it's becoming a part of our life. And so then as we are doing that closing, we have again a restatement of the thesis as we're saying now what we learned today was blah, blah, blah. You can make it concise, mention the transformative moment, how that proved the teaching. Then we also want to give some kind of follow up, something that is, like homework or suggested integration practice moving forward. And along with that, also an invitation to stay connected. If you have a mailing list, or if you're going to be at that same place again at some date, you can invite them there. A sign up sheet if you're in person. And so these are all the things that we're I'm giving you an overview, but we're going to actually break it all down into more detail. So there's your overview. And let's get into the nitty gritty of it, breaking down each part of this process. I want to point out a few things about the delivery of a class. It's interesting. I'm just reflecting, spirits kind of showing me. It's like this is about spiritual teaching, right? And I think that it's really great that we get to look at teaching through the lens of spiritual connection and expansion. Because as I look back on my academic career, I can think I'm many different faces of teachers are coming up who definitely created a space, a container that was warm and inviting and connective. And then there were some teachers who just got in there and like just rattled off information to you. And I mean all throughout from, primary school up through more advanced schools. Although I have to say by the time I got to, a school like HMI, pretty much those teachers were creating an environment because, they teach hypnotherapy. So it is in the same vein as spiritual teaching. So keep that, the title of it, right? We're talking about teaching something that is about personal development or spiritual development. So we want to make a personal connection and a spiritual connection. One of the things to keep in mind is pacing. Pacing and the sense of also balancing the content delivery, the talking, and some silence. So I'll do that right now. And what that means is not only that you actually speak slowly, but that you do allow some time to let some concepts land. Remember that silence can be therapeutic. And it's actually, I guess it's a bit even more intuitive if you're in person with people because you can just sit there and you can smile at them and you can take a breath. But you can also do that in an online setting, especially if you can see them in their Zoom squares. But even if you can't, like right now, I don't see you all in your Zoom squares, but I feel your energy. And so here is an example of taking some therapeutic silence. Let's just take a moment to breathe and just consider what we've learned so far today. And just letting it land there peacefully. And in that silence right there, what Spirit just told me was that when I am teaching a live class, that sometimes those little breaks are interjected by way of technical glitches or the thing not loading. And so this is taking me to a spontaneous point. If anything goes not as planned, then think of that phrase. What is it? Man plans, God laughs, or humans plan and God laughs. Think of it as the new plan, the aligned plan. So if something isn't loading, just breathe and say, "How's everyone doing?" It'll just take me a moment. Thank you so much for hanging in there. I think we're going to have a lot of fun today. And don't let yourself think of it as something going wrong, but something correcting. Give it just a beat. So what is interesting is that, when I teach a live class that then I edit and post, there's not actually usually a lot of editing, but if there is something that's taking me a moment to load up the visual aid, and there might be like 20 seconds of silence, I do edit that out of a video that that I would be posting. But the thing that's fine about that is that if you're watching a video, you can pause it at any time, create your own silences. So you see how it just tends to work out. All right. So pacing, both in your speaking and your delivery, speak slower than you might imagine, especially if it's a new situation, because when something's new, we have a tendency to feel a bit more pressure. And also allowing there to be some space for integration, meaning silence. The other part about our delivery we want to consider is our presence. Continue to regulate your nervous system. Continue to attune to the room and continue to anchor and re-anchor, which you're not really re-anchoring, you're just touching base with your anchored identity as the teacher, as the channel and the facilitator of what spirit, what love is doing in this space. And remember that a teacher doesn't actually really teach. A teacher is holding space so that everyone can remember what they already know deep in their soul, including the teacher. This is when presence can also benefit everyone else, because as you're really anchoring in your presence and regulating your nervous system so that you can stay present, then you will be learning at the same time. And energy is very literal. And so as you're learning, so will they have the opportunity of that to receive that direct frequency of learning. By the way, slight side note, what I love about teaching is that I learn so much more about whatever it is that the subject is. So you're all here because you're avid learners. Teaching it feeds you as a student, maybe better than anything else. So, well, I don't know. I shouldn't make it a hierarchical thing there, but yeah, it's a fantastic way to expand, grow, and learn. All right, next point in your delivery, just flexibility, meaning that you have the space to respond with your presence in the moment intuitively while also staying on track. So, this is why, with this outline, and I'm going to show them to you and break them down. We're going to kind of dive into them in a moment. Keeping them on the lighter side so that you aren't, reading them or insisting on everything, and not like you don't have your nose in the outline. So if you are a person who wants to really write all of the class information out in advance, if that helps you, great. And then I encourage you to reduce it to smaller bullet points. Let the writing it out just be something that is kind of cycling all of the details of the energy through you, but reduce it to bullet points, because this is going to give spirit and the co-creative environment of the class the opportunity to expand and bring something new and different. It's not about just reading a manual to someone. You could post a blog online and let people do that. So flexibility. And what is really interesting is that when I create an when I create an outline, especially if I'm doing something in person, I might create an outline that's very short, very concise if I'm in person, and I'll just jot down the notes on my phone. I'll teach, and then at some point, or usually toward the end, after, before the conclusion part where you kind of restate I will look at my notes and everything I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm sure there are other points that I wanted to mention. And it came through. It came through the way, because again, in your outlining, these are intentions that you've set and you're anchoring them in. So trust the process. If you're teaching online, or I mean, I guess if you had it like printed up and you just kind of glanced at it every now and again, if you were in front of a class, that would be pretty seamless too. So flexibility, both keeping on track, but also with the opportunity for things to come through um, as channeled opportunities. Now, timing. We may have a lot of material to cover sometimes, but see what you can do about keeping it, avoid cramming things in so that you can let key insights really land well. And I'll tell you that I, I don't I don't know if this is common or if this is more of a thing for me. I did learn that less is more. That with there being just those simpler bullet points, there was just the stories would show up, the examples would show up, and so, that's probably that as a spiritual teacher, I think that is the opportunity we all have, because you all are here, you come present, you take a breath, and even in a certain environment, you might just say, "One moment, I'm just gonna check in," and then just listen to spirit and see where you need to go next, you know? So, avoid cramming things in, let a key insight land really well, and, also remember to invite the questions and the shares, throughout. They do tend to ramp up more toward the end of something. Now, so far as your delivery goes, personal touch, meaning, yeah, you're a teacher, but you're a person, and these are all people. And so we wanna really ground it all with personal stories maybe, and some humor or lightheartedness, and different ways to apply it. Something that is, heartfelt, lighthearted, vulnerable. It doesn't have to be self-effacing. If it's self-effacing, not too self-effacing, just a little bit, just a little something that's like, "Oh my gosh, I so do that. My ego so does that." But you don't if you ever do anything self-effacing, be cautious not to make to do it in a sense that someone's like, "I know, me too," rather than them going, "No, you're great." You know what I mean? Like, that line there where we can tease ourselves, but we tease ourselves in a way that doesn't really deprecate, you know? Just like teasing your ego almost in a way that everyone can relate to. And of course, this is it with all of these points of deliverability, this next one kind of really can shine, and that is attune and be aware, almost, I guess, on the lookout for opportunities for expansion. And when I mean expansion, I mean ways that you might expand it up into the ethers, go out there a little bit. Maybe this class is on oracle cards, and this literally happened to me once, just a simple class on oracle cards with, I assumed, basically beginners. And then three people who didn't even know each other in the class wanted to start talking about ETs. And I was like, sure, let's go there, man. And, who knows? But see how the edge of someone's question, of course, you're listening to spirit as well, how you might expand it even more. And then also, as if we've gone out there a bit, keep grounding it, keep making it practical, keep making it human, bring in another story or metaphor or example. So, yes, so there's our overview of see, I just did it. I listened to spirit, didn't I? I goes, yeah, okay. So there's our overview of deliverability. Now we're going to break down some of the other components that are the outline, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So that's where we're heading next. That's so sweet, Courtney. I'm just looking at Sydney was giving you a kiss. Oh, they're so cute. Great. Okay. Let's look at a breakdown of the teaching outline. I really hope that this will give you some good inspiration for how to approach and that you can get excited about it, okay? That's my intention here. So here's your workbook companion. We have here the key points. I really encourage you to go and really read through this stuff because again, it might have some different things in it than I've actually said in class. That's the idea, and it really does ground the information. So here is an example. I just spoke through the overview of the lesson outline. I have here for you, look, 1, 2, and 3 different lesson samples. And again, take them, teach them just like this, because whatever you say is going to be totally different. All right, so here we go. So you see, there's the introduction part that we discussed. Introduce yourself, welcome everyone, and give a brief discussion, a talk, an overview of the subject. So the bullet points for this one, that is connecting with your spirit guides. Guides are spiritual support, and everyone has a natural ability to communicate with their spirit guides. So then our main points. We have 3 main points. We have what spirit guides are, common signs of spirit guides contacting you, and grounding before you connect. These are the ones that I just chose for this simple lesson. So under the what spirit guides are, a subpoint is what types of spirit guides. This is something, people, is it only my grandma? Can it be, who else could it be? These kinds of things are fascinating for people. And then their roles. You might cover the different roles, like there are spirit guides who are with you throughout your whole lifetime, or situational guides, or maybe something else like your Akashic guides, or all those different kinds of roles that a spirit guide could help us with. And then everyone has spirit guides. Oh, there's a typo there. So everyone has may spirit guides. Supposed to be many. Everyone has many spirit guides. So if you already downloaded this, re-download it after the lesson. So then under common signs of spirit guide contact, you can talk about certain signs and synchronicities. This might be a good time to give some examples, even short ones, of maybe how your spirit guides connect with you. Your own positive self-talk is a way that your spirit guides are actually connecting with you. This might be a surprise to a lot of people. Yes, if you say something nice to yourself, your spirit guide is slipping right in there to to amplify that and to say more to you. And then this would be a really great opportunity right there. And you can add stories and examples anywhere, but I would probably put a really good story in right here. How spirit guides have made contact, either a story that's your own, or perhaps it's a client or a loved one. Our third main point is to ground before connecting. And just the reason that I put this one as a third bullet point is because you might actually start to ground them at this time too. It's a great time to actually discuss something that is a really good practice. Even though, you would ground before you're connecting, we're actually going to put it at the end of the 3 points here to start to ground them, because then next we're going to do the integration, which would be to connect them. So that's why this lesson is actually crafted that way. Why it matters, what grounding is, and how to do it. And you can even do a mini little visualization, or even just something that is like, take off your shoes and place them on the floor right now and just feel your feet. Something as simple as that. Then do a more fleshed out integration practice. This would probably be, for this lesson, a guided meditation to meet your spirit guide, maybe to receive a symbol, and, to do some more of that grounding at the beginning of it. Then we have our closing. Restate your introduction as what we have learned. Mention at least one discovery that spirit presented through the lesson or through a student. And then we have here as suggestions for follow-up opportunities. You could tell them they could journal daily any intuitive impressions as they consider the symbol that was given or selected during the meditation. Ask for signs from spirit guides in dreams, or return to the meditation with the same anchor symbol. So this maybe that is because you actually are giving it as a download, or even something in the replay if it's something online. So the one thing that isn't mentioned in this outline is when to take questions. Well, like I said, a great time to make sure you take questions is after the first main point. And even if people don't ask questions, then get a little into the second one and say, I just want to check in again. How's everyone doing? Anyone is anything sparking for people? You know what I mean? And yeah, just keep and then teach a little bit longer so you can get the stuff in. And then as you get to this closing, the integration part and the closing, after the integration, there will probably be more interaction, no more engagement with them. The other thing that isn't mentioned in this is the use of something like visual aids. And that's really great, especially in two instances. If you're doing a class online and or if you are in person and there's a screen, a display that you could actually use. You could give a handout in the class if you're doing it in person, but the thing about that is if they're looking down at the handout, they kind of check out of you. Now, unless it's like just one, like let's say you're like, oh, I'm teaching on the Merkaba and you want to give them a symbol of Metatron's cube to, then that's different. That's just one little thing they can be looking at. And just keep that in mind. But visual aids can tap into other senses and help it to ground it in a multifaceted way. And then, of course, if you have the facility to use music or play some kind of something, maybe a bowl, a sound bowl, or little chimes, or the different things that you can use that are going to add that multidimensional stimulation to the senses. If you, oh, I just lost that point, so we'll just go on to the next one. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of these in that kind of detail. There's also a typo here. This is actually an Oracle cards class. So I made this one a little bit longer. You see, it's got more points than that. So this lesson would actually probably be something that could be, I don't know, maybe an hour long. Or you might be able to get through these things pretty quickly. Just to, again, be flexible and be aware of your pace. So we have more main points here. And yeah, even a little more sub points in one of those main points. And then the integration practice here, we have suggested that each student pulls a card and writes down the first impression that they get. So that's another kind of integration exercise. Now, there's the closing again and the follow-up suggestions. So in this one, actually, I'll go to the next one because, I didn't change the title on any of these. So this one is actually high vibrational prayer. I wasn't rushing either, y'all, I swear. I just missed that part. High vibe prayer. So the difference between a low and a high vibe prayer. This one also has 4 bullet points, but not quite as many sub points. And the one thing that you can do if we go all the way down to the bottom, like the follow up, the ways to integrate it in their own, is this would be a good opportunity to give them something, which is what we're going to talk about next too. So this is that delivery, presence, and engagement part that we already talked about. And this next section of the PDF about the takeaway materials. This is something that is another way to help them to integrate further and to create a greater connection. So I'm gonna take this off and I'm gonna just work from my notes for this so that I don't have that up the whole time. With the opportunity of using some kind of, excuse me one second. Actually, no, you know what? I'm gonna do another lesson. Yeah, I'm gonna bridge this into another lesson when we talk about this. Okay. So there you go. There's your outline. Feel free to take those, use it as a map or a template, or just start to practice with them just as they are. Okay, great. Okay, now another piece that is really great to plan in advance is to give your students something to take away. And some options for this would be, let's say, if they're online students, that you actually have set up um, what's called a lead capture form. You all have seen these before. It's where you actually, it's like you go to this landing page and I have one that I use a lot that's on my website and different things. It's like the higher self crystal meditation, and it's something that they can access that meditation. So as that is set up so that as they sign up for that, they also sign up for your mailing list. So now we've got this ongoing connection available to them. And then they also get to, continue to use the your work in their practice and have a reminder for how they can continue to expand with what was taught today. You could also give that, and now that's if you're online, that would be pretty easy. In person, it's still really easy if you have that lead capture. If you have a QR code, you know what those are? They're those squares that have the zoopity zoops, little configuration. You can actually set up QR codes right on Canva, and if you that can just go right to as they're leaving, say, hey, if you want my free gift, if you want, or it could be a PDF, if you want a PDF that is an overview of today's class with some of the journal prompts that we talked about and the integration practices and the energy exercise, and so on and so forth. Here's, come scan this QR code, and then you'll be able to download that PDF. People love PDF guides, and or maybe it is a meditation. Another really cool one, especially for in person, that I like to do is, just a little crystal, just a small one that you've actually blessed, and maybe this is something that I do for this in-person class that I teach once a month. I have these crystals, like a little grab bag of crystals. And if anyone wants it, then I have cards. They're like note cards that do have a QR code on back for them to be able to scan and then join my mailing list and get a meditation. But on the front side of the cue card, and it's like it's like a note card that's like, I have multicolored ones, and then I just put that QR code on the other side as a sticker. And then on that side, I do, anybody wants a crystal, just these small crystals, and then I intuitively pick one. I do some psychometry and hold it in my hand. I might ask them what they would like, some help or support on, just like giving a reading. And then I just jot down a few things on that note card and give that to them. And then with that, also see what the crystal wants to do with them, how it wants to work with them. Does it want to be under their pillow? Does it want to be in their pocket? Does it, any of that? And just jot those down. Even with, I don't have great handwriting, just jot them down real fast, but a little personal touch there. And then make sure they know on the other side here, if you scan that QR code, you'll be able to get today's PDF or the meditation or whatever it is. That is so fun, and people love it. Or if you're into essential oils, you could give them a little oil sample, and maybe a little tag on the oil sample that does have your QR code, either to go to your website or to go to another offering. And then we're continuing the integration for them with the little gift, and also the connection with a way for them to stay, in touch with you. Okay. Yeah. Good. Yeah. So there are some ideas, checklists, and different kinds of integration practices. It doesn't even necessarily have to do with your class. You could have a standard checklist that is about what the different lunar cycles, the energies of it are. And maybe you taught on oracle cards or the chakras, and you're like, hey, if you want to get this lunar cycle guide, you know what I mean? It does or doesn't have to do directly with the class. It's a gift, it's a takeaway, and it's just letting spirit continue to work your connection together and their connection with spirit. So think of the different fun things that you could do with that. And I mean, oh my gosh, it's so much fun. It really is. So yeah, keep having fun with that. Let's look at our PDF to see what else we can discover in this lesson. Another thing to consider, you know, we are in we're in the future, y'all. We landed in the future. I woke up one day and here I was in the future. How to use AI, specifically a large language model, aka ChatGPT being the most popular one, but who knows? But maybe in 2 months by the time someone's watching this, it's gonna be something else entirely other than ChatGPT that's most popular. I'm sure ChatGPT has a long life. To help you in your process as your assistant. And this is how you can use it. Remember that your class, your teaching is about you as the channel. Remember that you are the one who is transmitting the energy, the spiritual knowledge. All of that is irreplaceable. But this can be your assistant or your writer, your little writing assistant or your soundboard to help you to brainstorm and refine a lesson structure. It can help you to create PDFs for your takeaways. It could include the summaries of the class, reflection prompts, and journal exercises. Here's the thing that's so great is that this ChatGPT, you can just turn on the little dictation, part, the one that's like it's the little microphone that's in the box, not the one that's the black button with lines on it. That's a different one. That's a chat bot, but the one that is just the microphone, and you can go, "I wanna create a class," and you can actually talk to it like, "I wanna create a class on the lunar cycles. I wanna make sure that I talk to them about how you start with the new moon and the energies of the new moon, like planting a seed, and then blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah," and just kinda, and say, "Organize all of that, and then suggest anything that you think I'm missing." And it can organize it for you. And then you can say, "Expand on this area." Okay, great. And then after you kinda get that body together, then you can put it all back in there and say, "Create 4 journal prompts from this, either that were directly or indirectly, mentioned in the lesson." And, the thing is, I always do more than I need. So if I want 3 journal prompts, I'm gonna ask it for 5. And you still have to, you still have to train it. It's not intuitive, right? And it's not alive. It is basically just able to process a lot of information. Can help you to draft different title options. It can help you to create your social media descriptions or posts about it, the email invitation for your class. It can help adapt a teaching from one format to another. It can help to expand or reduce a teaching from one format, that kind of a format, the length of it. So I actually just put 2 very simple ChatGPT prompts here. Help me to write a class outline on such and such topic that includes an introduction, 3 teaching points with subpoints, a suggestion for a meditation or practical integration, and a follow-up suggestion practice. That can get you started. The more that you interact and train the language model, the more it will sound like you. And that's really cool. And even so, you still need to always review and edit any of the output. It won't, even if it's learning your narrative voice, it will never totally know your values or perspective or your knowledge base. It you have to correct it, Also, it isn't factual unless you ask it to go and cite a source. So yeah, you always are gonna have to do that, but it becomes so it can help you to move through so swiftly. So I've got a couple of pro tips here. Be sure to always save all of your outlines and materials as reference points and examples to build a consistent teaching style using the large language model. You can also, as it is right now, ChatGPT has projects and agents, and projects would be really good for, let's say, a project. Let's say you regularly are teaching on lunar transits or something like that, and different things for that. Create a project for your moon class work or your tarot work. And then that way it's always able to reference back to previous outlines while also helping to expand new outlines for you. So consider using projects so it will be able to continue to refer back to what you want it to refer back to in that subject. Also save all of your prompts and build upon them as you go. Another typo there. Pardon that if you're looking at the screen. Um, Save your prompts because like that one that I have up there, help me write a class on the lunar transits, that includes introduction, 3 teaching points. I like just save it on another document. That's why I save it on a Word document. Because then you next time you do it, like, "Well, actually, I wanted to put the journal prompts in that as well. Actually, I want it to give me, 2 key points," or something like that, you know what I mean? Just that way it's so easy to just go and copy and paste them in. So save all of your prompts as you're teaching the model and as you're learning how to use it yourself. So there you go. Take a quantum leap into the future, which is today. Here we are. You don't like you to play with that. Okay. All right, just want to give you a little conclusion here and show you what else you have in your workbook. My little final ending speech to you, my conclusion for you that you are the teacher. And as you teach from the oracle of your heart, then everything else is just the paint on a canvas, the colors on the canvas. Just move, put yourself out there. And if you have already been teaching, put yourself out there in a new way, teach a new subject, do it in a different way. If you've been doing online, then do in person. If you've been doing in person, do online. Of course, I mean, these are just suggestions. Maybe broach the subject of new things, things that you haven't taught on before, because you are omnidimensional and you are a way shower. So you are really needed to be able to share your knowledge as well as what you are gaining in the moment as knowledge and channeling in the moment. And then I just want to show you that the rest of your PDF is some prompts. So we have some journal prompts here. What type of class or subject matter feels most natural for me to teach and why? What do I want my students or participants to feel at the end of one of my classes? Because feeling is going to communicate transformation to their subtle bodies. And then any information that was delivered will then ground and expand and be accessed. Which aspects of class preparation, such as the intro, the teaching, the integration, the closing, do I feel confident about? And which ones would I like to practice more? What energetic or spiritual tone do I naturally bring to a teaching space? How can I amplify or refine it intentionally? If I were to create a takeaway resource, what would feel meaningful and aligned with my voice and values? And then I have 3 homework suggestions. Design and outline your own 30-minute class, or practice the ones that are on this if you want. Create a companion PDF or a takeaway draft. One thing you can do too is if you teach the class, live, and maybe you have an outline, but then you can transcribe the class, pop it into ChatGPT, and say, make this into a PDF that I can give to as a follow-up to my class, my students. And then you probably want to go and maybe pop that on into something nice in Canva, like this is a simple but a nice organized one. But you could also keep it simple and just have it as a Word document. So if you did that webinar or something in person, then say, if you sign up for my mailing list, by tomorrow, you're going to get a follow-up for this, so that you can continue the integration and let it seem like that's exactly not let it seem like plan it that way. I do that. Sometimes I do these in advance, but I usually do them afterward because I want spirit to bring everything through. And then I want to give it to you as a follow-up. You see what I mean? So anyway, create that, or practice teaching in a safe and comfortable container, a la this one, And if you would like to teach in sacred sphere, I believe we've talked about that pretty thoroughly. It is open to you. We could talk about that some more. And you can also, you can teach in sacred sphere. You can teach on any of the times that that I have a container available for you to teach live. And if you do, just a heads up, even though you know everyone, go ahead and pretend like you don't and introduce yourself and give it that whole feel connecting with an audience. Because you know what? Like this one place that I teach at every month, it is my friend's holistic center, and she's always been in the class. She always wants to come to the class herself. And then I have some repeat students. So I have a mix of both. And then I have students who I've never met before. So the only time I don't do the introduction is if I know exactly who's going to be there and you know exactly who I am, and that'd be silly. So yeah. All right. So that's what I have for you. I hope you get a little excited. Just practice it. Have fun with it. If you're having fun, then your students are going to have fun. And that's something that they're feeling. And now they're going to be able to integrate it, and Spirit's going to be able to access everyone. And I just can't wait to see you shine either in a new way, or in a way that is you channeling a fresh class of something that you've known for a while. Yeah, I'm just really excited for you, and I'm excited for all of your students. Hi. Sorry about all the typos. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't in a hurry. Maybe I got you know what? I'm inviting y'all to studio. Whoever is here or wants to come, or if you don't, that's fine too. But we'll have some time to chat, ask questions, talk about anything you like. There were like twice as many people here earlier. I wonder what happened. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So if you downloaded I already said it a couple of times. If you downloaded the PDF, give me a few minutes to correct my boo-boos. How you guys doing? What's going on? Look at the little girl. Who, me? Yeah, you. All right. Peekaboo. She go, peekaboo. What a dork. I mean me. Oh, she tricked me. She's like, I'm not playing with you. Hi.
Hi. Am I the only one that came on?
Yeah, so far at least.
Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
That was so inspiring, Tricia. Thank you.
Oh, good. I was kind of clunky. I was clunky today, but I was like, all right, this is what it wants to be. I wasn't ill prepared either. That's the thing, you know.
But you made that point about, being flexible and allowing what happens in the class to illustrate what you're trying to do. So you demonstrated that quite perfectly. That was beautiful.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I have a friend who started a collective, and I've attended a number of their workshops, and they're nothing like what we do. They're just, minimal and so light, and they're nice, they're lovely, and people don't know what they want to know. Right. But, I would love to do that class on spirit guides. Like, I think they eat that up.
Totally.
Yeah. So we have a dinner once a month, and I can't go most of the time, but I went this month, and she just went around the table. Like, there were 12 of us. What would you like to teach, or what would you like to have taught to you? So they were just kind of going around the table, and yeah, I'm gonna call her up and do something.
Yeah, just take that outline if you want. I mean, it's kind of basic in a lot of ways, but so you'll make it your own.
I couldn't see it. I'm actually working on 3 projects while you were teaching, but I stopped and took notes, and I'm listening. I'm just watching things. So yeah, maybe I'll have to beef it up or whatever. I don't know, but thanks for getting me started.
Well, I mean, I say it's basic. It's basic to us, but you're gonna, they're all prompts for you to like spirit guides. What are their roles? What types of spirit guides? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's
the basics.
They're the basics, but they're definitely the things that, that people want to know. And like, and I don't worry too much about people's, you can keep things on what we consider a basic level, because even though like this is a basic teaching, but it's like, if you are a way shower, then it's like, now I know how to teach a class on spirit guides, but it's really cool to watch someone teach how to teach a class on spirit guides. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like it's like the pedagogy of it is also something to, So yeah, there's always something to learn, I think.
Well, and the people that attend these classes and workshops are not necessarily self-ascribed intuitives, but a lot of them are intuitive in some ways, of course. But that would give me an opportunity to demonstrate my connection and maybe get me some clients, which
Absolutely.
is
Totally.
definitely what I'm looking for.
So definitely do a reading. You know what I mean? Like that's obviously there's so many different facets to how that'll help. Like someone gets a reading, and be sure to tell them, as we always do when we're doing something in a gallery or a group. I just want to let you know this reading I'm going to be giving to Michelle, but spirit has a way, if your heart is open, that you'll receive something too. It'll almost sound like it may sound like your own spirit guides are talking to you, you know.
Yeah.
And then that's a suggestion, by the way. It's a hypnotic suggestion.
Yep. I know how that works.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know what? I just wanted to tell a story I remembered when you said they're not self-ascribed intuitive. So you guys, I don't know if you remember this cat. I told you the story of this cat who's on my neighborhood walk. He's in my neighborhood. He's my friend.
Right.
He's big fat. Well, and you're like, yeah, but there's like 72 stories. But this one in particular is Pochoclo, the kitty cat named Pochoclo. He's a big fat orange cat, and my husband and I were walking down his street, making friends with him. And so then one day I was like about to leave, and I was like, I'm going to walk by, and said, "Oh, you're going to go by the name of the street is Florence." And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "What do you think his name is? What do we want to call him?" Because I named the cats if I haven't met their humans yet. And I went, potato. And I said it like in a funny way too, like potato. And he goes, my husband's like, "Oh, okay, maybe like sweet potato because he's orange." I was like, "Yeah, I guess so. I want to call him Popo." Okay. So we're calling him Popo, potato for like a month. And then I met his human and asked her what his name is. She's Maria is her name. She speaks Spanish. His name is Pochoclo.
Oh, wow. How cool is that?
I don't know. I'd never heard that word. It means popcorn in Spanish. And I was like, "Do you call him Popo?" And she goes, "Yeah, I hear you say this. Did you, you know?" Because she's like, "Did we talk before? I don't remember her telling you his name. I didn't remember meeting you." And I was like, "No." Anyway, that's my experience with Popo. And then on another street, there's this beautiful cat. He's so amazing. And he's got this big, he's like got all these, he's like white and black, and he's got this big splotch on his nose. It makes him look like he has an extra large Carl Malden nose. You remember, we're older, so we remember that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I was calling him Mushi. I don't know why. We just started calling him Mushi. And then we finally, and like we've known him for like seriously a year and a half. Finally, his human, his dad was out front, and I was like, "Is that your cat?" And he's like, "Yeah." "Oh my gosh, we love him so much. What's his name?" And he said, "Oh, Muka," which is funny. It's not exactly the same, but it still starts with an MU.
Right.
And he goes, it means cow in Italian. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's so great." So now we call him Muka. But then Brian and I were walking. So that was like months ago. We're walking, and there's Muka, and there was a young couple that were already saying hello to him. And I was like, "Oh, we have to stand in line." And we walked up, and I was like, "He's so great." They're like, "Oh yeah, is this your cat?" And I was like, No. I go, "His name's Muka. And it means cow in Italian." And the girl goes, "Oh my gosh, I've been calling him Moo Cat because he looks like a cow."
Oh, how funny.
She goes, "I wonder if that's why he comes to me. I'm actually saying his name, Muka. And so again, she doesn't know she's intuitive. Obviously, right. She got that name from him the same way that Popo gave me his name.
Right. That's awesome.
Isn't it? Yeah. Wow. It just made, and Brian was like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "I know, I want to see her chart. I want to see if she's got gate 19, 15, or 5.
Right. That's evidential for sure.
Yeah. And I was just like, "Yeah, no, that's," just let her go on her way. But she was very young. She was in her 20s. I was like, maybe that's a spiritual awakening for her.
Yeah.
So anyway, fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
We are all intuitive. Totally. Yeah, just nobody else wants to hang out with us. All right, that's fine. We're not mad. We're not sad. Oh, Grace says to have to hop off. Oh, good. Oh, thanks, Grace. That's high praise, because I know that you have a lot of academic background. I will get that PDF shaped up before bedtime. So yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? How are you doing?
I'm leaving town on Saturday for a big blast from my past to visit a bunch of different people in 4 different states. So I'll miss you. I'll be gone about 10 days.
Oh,
So
wow.
I
Okay.
likely, because it's a 3-flight thing, 2 states and then 2 states. And so it's a lot, and that includes my 50th high school reunion.
Yeah, you said. That's
Yeah,
right. That's exciting.
yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
We haven't had one in a while. Actually, the only one we formally had was our 10th, and no one's really kept it up. But what is funny is all of the women look really nice and, like, fit and everything, and the guys kinda got, like, all the guys got
Yes, that's exactly right.
the guys aren't, and I don't mean to be rude, but the women are clearly taking care of themselves, and the men, not
Or
so
not,
much.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, the woman in charge of all this sent out a description of what each reunion year exemplifies,
Oh,
like
mhm.
the 10, the 20, the 30, and so on. And the 50 is like nobody really cares anymore. You're not trying to impress anybody. You're over it, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I for
hopefully.
sure am. I don't care anymore
Yeah,
what anybody thinks. And there was a part of me was like, why do I even care?
yeah,
But there's still some people that I love and would like to connect with, and you just never know. And it's fun, I think, for me to, like what you did in our meditation tonight, to bring this positive attitude to a place and time where I'd never had access to that part of me before. I
yeah,
looked through every lens in a negative way,
yeah,
and I viewed all those people that way. So to be able to go and look at them through another perspective, and to even see the boyfriends that never really liked me and I always wanted, and all those angry expectations, it doesn't matter anymore. And so
yeah.
I'm just looking forward to kind of getting rid of all that negativity from my past. And that's all I've been doing all week, is unloading my house of all my mom's things, and in turn a lot of my own things. And so it just feels good to kind of offload and
Yeah.
look at the new perspective. Hey, Tracy.
Hi, Lori.
Hi. How you doing?
Doing? Me, I am good. Good, good. I just got out of class. My judo kid is on vacation this week, so I'm here.
Well, it's nice to see you. The connection's a little funky, but
Oh, yeah, I'm down in the basement. I'm sorry.
oh, that's right. Good. Um, yeah. So I know what you, and it's like you get to, so like you say, your other angry expectations or disappointments from being a kid, but you get to go and just love them,
Yeah.
and love
Yeah.
everybody, love yourself, love
And
everybody.
laugh at that,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
wasn't that funny? Just,
I have this client who is, how old is she? She's like 35. Yeah, I think she's 35. So she's, much younger than me, but still, that 35 is quite mature. And she has this ex-boyfriend from high school. They were like 15 and 17 years old. And he like sent her this email, just like ripping her a new one, saying how she broke his heart. And she's like, she was just like, I don't know what to do with this. Cause like, I don't even know how to be mad at myself at 15 years old. Like, I don't even know who that is.
right.
And I was like, oh gosh. And so she wrote him an email back that was compassionate, but at the same time kind of said, I can't really help you with that because that's a little girl. That's you know what I mean? Like, it's not who I
Not
am.
me
So
anymore.
yeah.
Yeah. Some people just need amends,
Hmm.
even when it's not something you can really recover or
Yeah.
connect to.
Yeah. 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 That's what she did. She had compassion, but also like, took the high road, but didn't overly apologize because she's like, seriously, like, I don't even know what he's talking about. Like he kind of, you know, kind of like a child was like, after we broke up, you just were always around with another guy. And she's like, we just broke up and I got another boyfriend. Like, I don't know what to do about that. Like, 'cause you don't have any idea how much it hurt me every time I saw you. And she's like, all right, well,
Sorry that happened.
I'm sorry I didn't become a nun.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. That's fun. It's fun stuff. So, all right. How you doing, Tracy? Tracy, if you just a heads up, since you got here late, that I had a bunch of typos in the PDF that I gave y'all tonight. So re-download it after I give you the announcement of it.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I am good. Yeah, no, just life is good. I have an outline for my class that I want to teach. I want to go over with you guys.
Oh, great.
I don't have my notebook; it's out in the truck, but on Sunday probably I will go over that with you guys and see what you guys think
Absolutely.
and that kind of thing, and then I'll schedule like a time to present it to you guys after that.
Awesome.
But
Well,
I kind of want to go over my outline and see if there's anything you guys think I should add or take away or anything like that. But
look
and then
how
I was thinking of
tonight's class
sorry.
was
And then I
on
was
teaching. So
was it? Oh yeah, I had yeah. And then Mondays was on leading the class, right?
I
Or was
talked about it a
how
bit.
to lead on Zoom?
We just, yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
we talked about it a bit.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we can keep talking about that in any, like, we can talk about that on Sunday a little bit more too, like anytime we need to, you know.
Yeah, I'll go over it with you guys on Sunday and kind of give you my ideas, what I was thinking, and then
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did I interrupt? You were going to say something else? Sorry, the connections.
Oh no, that
Asynchronous.
was it. Yeah. I'm in the base. This dojo's in the basement, so it doesn't get the greatest reception down here. So.
All right, cool. Well, all right then. Anything else for you guys? I mean, we can wrap up early if you like. I'll get the PDF set, send it right back to you. Yeah.
Sounds good. Time for dinner. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Have a great night. I love you guys.
Love
Bye.
you too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Lori.